All right, Mr. Sloop, I know your time is valuable, and I think we've given people plenty of time to show up. So if it's all right with you, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is the Hampton Frank Study Area for Traffic Calming. My name is Valerie Holmes. I'm the Assistant City Engineer for the Traffic Engineering Division, and we are here to revisit the Hampton Frank traffic calming in light of the construction of the townhomes that are going in on Keat Avenue. So just, I think you've done this before. This is what you should be seeing as far as your screen is concerned. If you have any questions, you can type in the Q&A box down at the bottom. You can expose the box by pressing that button. You type your questions in the little box there. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. You just click the hand next to your name. And then if you'd like to speak, you can click the unmute button to unmute yourself. So this is the study area. As I mentioned before, we just recently went through and installed the the rubber speed humps in the locations marked by the black dots back in December of 2019. At the time, Frank Street did not have enough volume on it to qualify for traffic calming, which is why nothing was proposed for that street. With the construction of the townhomes, however, on Keat Avenue, it is possible that the volumes will be enough to warrant installation of devices on Frank Street. So we're looking at this as a change in circumstance due to the townhomes, and so we're revisiting this area prior to the expiration of the 3-year waiting period. So normally this is our process, how we got here. We actually received a request to revisit from a citizen in the area. We did opt to skip the application and petition process because it was so recent, and we went straight to the kickoff meeting, which is what this is right now. So after this meeting, where are we going? We'll collect data along Frank and some other areas within the study area, just to make sure that the roads do qualify for traffic calming. We will ask that a study team be formed to come up with a plan. We will send it out for vote, and whatever passes will be scheduled for installation. The data that we collect speed and volume data. We collect it generally on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and during the school year. We try to capture what we consider to be typical days, and so that's what we schedule it for. Is Mondays and Fridays are generally not what we would consider typical days, and certainly not during the summer holiday. So again, we would request that members of the area form the volunteer study team, come up with a plan, and we review the plan, give some engineering oversight to that. You can visit that website, publicinput.com/HamptonFrank, to keep up with the progress of the study area. And streets that are eligible would have more than 300 vehicles per day, and fewer than 2,500 vehicles per day. And generally, the plan is limited to speed humps and landscape islands. These are some of the other devices that can be considered, but I think given the character of the area, I think speed humps and islands would be most appropriate. But again, these are the approved devices that the study team can consider. And so once the plan is finalized, we send out a ballot for voting by everyone within the study area. And each item is voted on individually by members of the household. Anything that passes with at least a 70% yes vote will be scheduled for installation, and that is based on votes received, not total residents of the study area. And anyone over 18 years old or who has a valid driver's license is eligible to vote. We will schedule them as we're able to. We do have budget constraints that we have to consider. The rubber speed humps are significantly more expensive than the standard asphalt. So we do have to consider that, as well as supply chain issues and that sort of thing. But we do try to get to it as quickly as possible. Generally, a hump per week or so, depending on the crew's workload, and then 1 to 2 days for any islands that are installed. So that's a very quick presentation. Again, that's my contact information. I see we have a few more people who've joined, and I apologize for going through this so quickly, but it's, y'all are pretty familiar with the process, having just done it a few years ago, but I am happy to entertain any questions that you might have. Let's see. Trying to unmute. Mr. Lee, can you hear me?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I have a question, and it might be a side question to this.
Okay.
With the traffic flows, what's I guess where are the indicators for the study going to be at to be able to pick up exactly where the traffic is flowing in from?
Are you talking about the actual devices that we use to collect the data?
Correct.
Well, we don't advertise when and where we put them down, because if people know when we're collecting data, then it can skew the data. So we try to get basically typical behavior, but we generally try to place them mid-block in logical places, not necessarily entrance points to the neighborhood, but mid-block on the streets that we are collecting data on.
Okay. Are they going to be random points all around the area just to try to figure out where the traffic's going?
We don't do any kind of origin or destination. It's strictly to gather volumes on the streets themselves. And again, we try to get them basically mid-block-ish. We try to scatter them around. But again, we don't advertise when or where. Just like I said, we want to get natural traffic flow behavior.
Okay. And is there a future look at trying to handle the traffic volume that would flow through the neighborhood?
Not as part of this process, no.
Do you know if the city's looking at trying to remedy that through other traffic means or other
We
engineering?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, unless there is a serious problem, we don't look to restrict access for anybody. I mean, the roads are a public infrastructure open to use by the motoring public. So we're not looking to restrict access to any particular group of people or from any particular group of people. The point of traffic calming is, however, by installing speed humps, you are basically introducing an inconvenience to people who would normally use an area as cut through. They don't generally like going over the speed humps, and we do find that a lot of times people want to find a different route so that they don't have to deal with it.
Yeah. I was kind of looking at the city coming up with maybe a more long-term solution instead of inconveniencing the traffic that uses the neighborhood as a cut through.
Mm.
Instead of inconveniencing them, rather creating a more easily flowing pathway through the major fairways.
Mm-hmm. And we do try to do that. We are working to upgrade our signal system and coordinate the signals better by doing that, and give people a more efficient way to get through on the major thoroughfares. That is part of what my office is tasked to do. But there's always going to be, traffic looking for that shortcut and cutting through. So hopefully this installation of speed humps will help cut down on that.
Okay, I might have a side question for you if no one else has anything.
Okay. Let's see. All right, Mr. Sloop.
To combine on what he was saying, it seems like what's happened, because you have all the traffic from southern side and downtown comes down Washington Street to cut over to Pete Hollis. and Cook Street has no speed bumps. It seems like a lot of traffic flows down Cook Street through Frank Street over to Briggs and then gets onto Pete Hollis that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like some of the only streets in the entire neighborhood without speed bumps.
Mm-hmm. And again, you know, the point of this is to revisit that area. And again, if a street doesn't have enough volume on it, we set the lower threshold at 300 vehicles per day, because basically anybody under that, you know, under that volume, it's the residents of the area that are using the street. It's not serving as a cut through. You know, like I said, we can't really gather origin destination data to see where are they coming from and where are they going to. That's just basically a surmise that we make, and that's what educated the lower threshold.
And that makes sense. Are you going to take data over a week or two and then do like a rolling average?
No, what we do is we set the counters out for a period of 48 hours and we get a 48-hour count, and that translates to a daily traffic volume.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all. That's everything I had.
All righty. Any other questions? All right. Let's see. All right, Renee?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So, the 48 hours, is that, because I would think Saturday, Sunday, and during the week would obviously be different. Week and a weekend. Can I assume that's taken into account?
It is, I mean, only gathering data for 48 hours, you are introducing some error into the extrapolation of your average daily volume. It's the best that we can do because the counters are battery powered and they can't count for a full week. So we do take the 48 hours, and that's part of the program's algorithm, is to extrapolate it over a daily volume or a average annual daily volume. But we have to collect data on what we would consider to be typical days, again, which is a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday during the school year.
Gotcha. Okay. And 300 is, yeah, because I would think Cook Street to that, what someone else had said, that's going to be a big one, that Cook Street, Washington.
300 is the minimum. And also, when we scheduled this kickoff meeting tonight, I was operating under the information that the condos had actually been completed. That's not the case. They're still under construction. And so depending on how long it takes to get them completed, we're not actually going to start our counts until after they're completed.
Okay. So we're not going to we are definitely not doing the counts until after they're completed.
Correct. And like I said, I was told
Okay.
that the condos were completed, you know, by citizens of the area and pushing for the scheduling of the kickoff meeting.
Oh, really?
And, you know, that's on me for not confirming that.
Okay.
So I take responsibility for that, but we are going to wait for our data collection until after the condos are complete.
Okay. Well, that was kind of what kicked that off anyway.
Right.
For us. So for many of us anyway. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And it's likely in developing the plan, whoever ends up being on the study team, in developing the plan, there are already a lot of devices that are installed throughout the neighborhood. And so if we can't squeeze in another speed hump where there's already a lot, then chances are they won't be approved. Again, the purpose of this round of traffic calming is to basically focus the efforts on Frank Street and possibly Cook, as long as the volumes are met. So, any other questions? All right. Mr. Lee? don't think you're unmuted.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
I came in about halfway through, I think, of the presentation.
Mhm.
Did you have an actual map of the roads that are actually being reviewed? The
I
roads
can,
that-
let me try to get back to that real quick. I'll show you. So there's the study area in blue.
Mhm.
The roads that will qualify within that study area are the ones that have the minimum 300 vehicles per day.
Okay. Gotcha. I was trying to figure out which condos everybody was talking about because there seems to be a few of them.
It's
in the
right there
area.
on, the ones specific to this meeting are on Keat Avenue. You can see where it kind of curves around right near
Okay.
Pete Hollis there.
Yeah.
That's where they're being built, and that was the impetus. That was the development that was the impetus for tonight.
Okay. Does your team deal with crosswalks?
We do, but outside of traffic calming, let me go back to my contact information at the end. If you have any concerns, questions, need something, you can either email me or that phone number is the main line, and my assistant can certainly take down your concerns and we can look at it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Mr. Sloop.
Yeah, this is the last thing I'm going to say.
Sure.
First, thank y'all very much for y'all's time tonight. I know it's an evening. He brought up crosswalks, and this may be outside of y'all's area, but people coming down Mulberry don't stop at stop signs, and frequently pedestrians are. I mean, you know, walking my dogs, I found that there's several times where cars almost run into us, or you know, just driving, people will cut you off because they don't stop for the stop signs there. They treat Mulberry as if it has the right of way.
Mhm.
Maybe that's more of a police presence type thing, but I feel like police could sit out there and write tickets all day long.
Yeah, it is a problem. I mean, there's stop sign runners all over town. You know, it's unfortunately not just limited to your area. It is an enforcement issue. I do encourage, you know, pedestrians being the more vulnerable road users to basically you gotta make sure that cars have stopped. And I understand you're probably already halfway across before somebody comes blowing through and all that, but yeah, it is understandably a problem. It's interesting, you know, Mulberry has that raised intersection. And I see, you know, areas where the cars have kind of bottomed out on the asphalt, and, you know, I have to wonder, you know, how fast they're going to do that. But it is an enforcement issue, and I can certainly pass along your concerns to the police to let them target the area. But again, I do urge pedestrians to exercise extreme caution. And Renee, did you have your hand up? Okay.
Yes, and I know we had very low attendance at this meeting, which is unfortunate, but I also recommend that if you live in Southern Side, you attend our meetings, which our monthly meeting is at 7 o'clock today.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a police officer, and that's who you should tell about those issues, and they will write tickets and they will listen to your concerns. So our meeting's at 7 and the link is on our Facebook page. Which
And
is,
I tried to keep this, you know, short enough just to get you the information, because I do know you have that meeting tonight, and I'm sure that y'all are interested in attending that.
and thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for. All right. Anything else? All right then. Well, again, please note the website. I'm sorry, Mr. Lee.
Yeah. Can you give a little more info on that neighborhood association meeting?
I don't have information about that. I believe on the city's website under the residents section, if you navigate to neighborhood associations, they have a schedule. Each neighborhood has a schedule of its meetings, and I believe tonight's meeting for the southern side is the second Thursday of every month at 7 o'clock. But more information can be found on the website.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right then. Well, if there aren't any, then we will conclude the meeting. And again, if you have any questions or further concerns, you can reach me by email or by phone. Thank you all again for attending, and that is the conclusion of the meeting.